Friday, July 27th. I'm Rim, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we have two guests, Luke Crane and Jared Sorenson, to talk about role-playing games.
Let's do this.
Due to what I can only assume is magic, I happen to know how long this interview is going to take, so we're going to just get right into it. So it looks like we've got some guests in the studio.
Oh snap! We have a return guest and a new guest. I think this is the first return guest to Geeknights, maybe?
Possibly. I mean, not counting people like Emily.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. But anyway, it's been how long, Luke, since you've been on the show?
Oh wow, it's been 4 years, I guess, and I'm only back here because you paid me.
How much are we paying him? I didn't contribute, Rim. This is all you.
I have no comment there.
All right.
4 years since we basically cornered you at a convention and forced you to do an interview with us. I was drunk during it.
But wait, he's the
You
one
were
selling
drunk?
stuff.
I was so drunk.
If he's the one selling stuff, shouldn't he be paying us?
Because we were going to like wait in the bar and meet everybody and hang out with some people in arcade, and then that didn't happen, and I was the only one who actually got my drink.
You had a mixer, like not a drink mixer.
Yeah, both kinds.
Mostly the problem was I ordered I think I ordered like a Manhattan, and they just gave me a gigantic water glass filled with whiskey.
So,
All right, yeah. Do you want to introduce yourself properly? I guess.
hi, I'm Luke, and I'm Judd.
Nobody's gonna get that joke. It's been too long.
It's too long. It's dead. So yeah, hi Rim, hi Scott. Thanks for having me back. It's been 4 years. I've made a lot more games and books since then, but I miss you guys, and people always come
Missy, we saw you like
up to me
a few weeks ago.
Shut up. But in Radio Land, it's been 4 years. People come up to me today still and talk to me about that Geeknights episode, and tell me that they heard about Burning Wheel through Geeknights.
Oh, well, hopefully they will.
To this day.
Hopefully this will, I guess, increase the frequency of that. Maybe they'll be like, oh, you'll be like, which episode? The one 4 years ago, or the new one.
But we're here with my friend and partner, Jared Sorenson.
Hi. That's all you're getting.
Thank you, Jared.
That's all you're getting.
You don't want
That's a
to
lie.
tell the listeners who you are, what you do.
My name is Jared Sorenson. I'm a game designer and a writer and publisher, and I do a bunch of games they might have heard of,
Might.
like Action
Castle.
Oh
Castle.
shit.
Made famous by the Action Castle incident at PAX.
You're on a podcast. There are 4 people here.
There are no exits. There is a microphone here.
Dude, there's an elevator. Dude, we need a parsley game with an elevator in it.
It's the next one.
Space Station.
Technically, it's a turbo lift.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
Oh, I gotta get that.
it's out.
What?
Brand new.
It's out. It just came out.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I didn't bring one.
Oh,
See how rapidly we get behind in this whole industry?
clearly, he's making games faster than I can play them.
So I guess we should get started with kind of the obvious topic, because it's a point of debate among our listeners, among us, sometimes at panels between us and people in the audience. What is a role-playing game?
Does the question mean something different when you say it like that?
Yes, it's like a game show question then. Like, who is the father?
Not any of us. I hope.
I don't
You're
think
trying to tell us something, Scott?
I don't think that game show has been invented yet. although that's gold. That is fucking gold.
It is. I think. Well, no, wait. I saw an episode of it when I was in Japan.
Oh, well, that's Japan. They have, whatever.
It was, I'm not going to do my pigeon Japanese impression.
Okay.
Spare your listeners.
That's all right.
So what is a role-playing game? I guess we should actually talk about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Do we care?
We're gonna
Does
do
anybody
this?
care?
I think people do, because a lot of
If
people...
nothing else, it will spawn us into discussing something else more interesting when we find a tangent that is quality.
Okay. So, Talisman. That's the best role-playing game ever
It
designed.
is a role-playing game.
Talisman.
I don't even. What is Talisman?
Games Workshop board game
From the 80s.
from the 80s. You play a character. You get magic
A
items.
role, as it were.
You fight.
You have stats. You have hit points. You have gold.
You
fight.
explore the labyrinth.
You do.
And you win, lose, or die.
There's even alignment in it.
Really?
Yep.
Ooh.
Oh wow. So do you have to paint the miniatures? This is a Games Workshop game.
No painting the miniatures. I mean,
they
unless you
do have some
extra
lead
credit.
figures that you can buy for it, but it comes with little
Plastic.
cardstock counters.
Oh, cardstock counters. Right.
with
Do they
that are
still
full
do
color.
they still make this game? Because I know like
They reissued it. Fantasy Flight Games, maybe.
last year. Yeah,
oh, Fantasy Flight.
Advertisement.
it
Did
is.
they change? Did they change the name of it?
It's now called Talisman
Ah.
by Fantasy Flight.
Okay, because sometimes you'll get like a reissue of a game and they change the title of it, but it's really
Strangely enough, in the 21st century, I think it still costs the same as it did in 1980. Games Workshop.
Possibly one of the worst gameplay experiences I've ever had.
Or the best.
Playing Talisman.
Well,
Which,
how does
which defines it
sounds
as a
lot
role-playing
like,
game.
like a Hero Quest type of thing. Does it differ from Hero Quest?
It's very similar.
Very similar. Yeah.
Or Warhammer Quest or
Dungeon. Dungeon's actually the first role-playing game.
Dungeon also.
What's Dungeon? Is that
It's Talisman Light.
Dungeon designed by Gygax and Arneson. Board game levels.
did they make that before
characters.
D&D or after?
After.
The
So
D&D
you're
board
so wait, you said that was like the first role playing game. So D&D original D&D was not a role playing game. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
So what is
It is
the,
a simulation.
all right.
It is a
all right.
tactical simulation, skirmish-based, man-to-man fighting.
So what about it makes it not a role playing game?
No kissing.
There's kissing in Talisman.
There is kissing. Yes.
How do you but you said
there's
it's
a-
a lot like Hero Quest.
There's a
but
filter
Hero
of
Quest
love
doesn't
in
have
Talisman,
kissing.
isn't there?
There's all sorts of stuff in Talisman. You
Oh,
can
but
get
what
a,
if
you
what
can
if
get
in the
a
meta
print.
game I add kissing in? My
then you-
character kisses.
But you've changed. It's not no longer the Hero Quest anymore. It's now a different game because
Hero Quest
you've
with
changed the
kissing.
rules. Like if I play Monopoly with money on free parking, it's not Monopoly
It's
anymore.
Hero Quest in
something
a pink
else.
box.
Yeah.
So wait, what if I every time I get a hearts card in poker, if I kiss you, does that make it a role playing game, Jared?
Makes it more disturbing game.
How do you turn poker into a role playing game?
Oh God, I actually played that game. Wick had a game.
John Wick,
John Wick.
designer of Legends of the Five Rings.
He had this really cool
Oh.
game. I don't think he ever
I know
released
that
it.
game.
But
You played that game.
I played that game.
With scary people.
I played that game with,
With
the
perhaps the
scariest dude
scariest people we've ever known.
I've ever encountered in my life. I'm pretty sure he never actually raped a child, but otherwise,
Wow.
This is a dude where if he brought up a conversation, he would brag to you about how he knew and memorized the age of consent in all 50 states.
in alphabetical
yeah,
order.
I think I know that guy too, or someone like him, someone with his gene line.
Yeah.
My friend
Yeah.
Rich.
My L5R experience was great. I spent like 4 hours making this character with this long introduction, and I was killed in one hit by the first thing we encountered, and that was the end.
It's the Bushido Blade of role-playing games.
Well, that's good. We need more of that. We need more one shot,
So
one kill
Maybe I
games.
should rephrase the question. What makes a good role-playing game?
Oh, now
Our names on the box. Boom.
That is
Boom.
that's completely different. So what is a role playing game versus what is a good role playing game? Then
A good role playing game is very
categorically
different.
Different question.
Exactly.
It's
So
like,
what makes a good role-playing game? Like for you, like what do you say, Luke, is a good role-playing game?
ooh, oh my.
Like what are the elements? Like what makes it good versus bad? Like why is D&D so unsatisfying? Well,
Like,
I'll say
all right, so if I'm some punk kid who thinks he knows how to write a role-playing game, right? And
You're
I-
wrong.
And you are.
All right. Okay. So
you're wrong.
So I write a game and I say, let's say you were, it was like, you're in like the way comic people like look at people's portfolios. I give the game to you and I'm like, oh, will you critique my game and tell me where I went wrong? What would be like the things that you look for first?
If you're
we have a list.
if your
because we'd see it.
role playing game had creation myths in it and a fighting system and character creation and a magic system, I think that would be where at the point at which I'd tell you steered yourself a little wrong there. That perhaps you might want to go back to the drawing board. For me, a modern role playing game has to have some form of mechanical resolution for.
Well, it needs player agency. It needs
So what is player agency? Because people listening probably have no idea.
the player has to be able to make meaningful choices and have a
Right.
effect on events in the world.
But I
in
mean,
the
I
game.
choose between whether or not I'm attacking 4 times at half damage or 2 times at full damage.
Well, that's a choice. That's good. It's better than no choice,
True.
But it's not.
but it's not really.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough for a contemporary role playing game. For
You
me,
have to make emotional. Well, basically, what you have to do is you have to make irrational decisions. That's kind of the difference between a role playing game and a war game. Is if I'm playing with my Napoleonic miniatures and I decide this guy's going to kill this guy because he's closer and it's an easier shot, that's a lot different than saying this guy's brother was killed in the war by this guy. Now he's out for revenge. Then it's a role-playing game. You have
Right.
emotional context. You're making suboptimal decisions based on emotional responses.
I call it player priorities too. Like I feel stupid playing a role-playing game in 2010 if I do not have a place to insert or choose a priority as a player, meaning something that I am interested in as a person that I want my character to do. I don't give a fuck about my character. I don't care what Rim wants to do. I want to be able to say, right, I'm playing a dragoon or a dirty French hussar. And
Is it sad that I thought about Final Fantasy Dragoon before I thought about actual dragoons?
I thought about that stupid, like, what's that game
No.
where the rail shooter with the dragon? It's like Legend of Dragoon.
I think it's
like
legend. Anyway, if I'm or is StarCraft Dragoon,
Wasn't there a Shogun warrior named Dragoon?
I don't know.
I'm going to say there was.
All right.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm going to say there was. Shut up. How dare you? Don't I have the right to dream?
So, I mean, a game should have a role-playing game needs to have not just like mathematical, mechanical resolution, but it has to have choices that the player is making based on the emotional content of their character, plus the situation, plus what's going on in the game. Right? If you're not factoring in what the GM has said, what the other players have done and presented, like basically what's going on in this space between us, like where are all the characters, why am I doing this? If you're not factoring that into a role, and the game isn't reinforcing that decision with, okay, if you go this way, if you make this decision, then this thing happens. If you make this decision, this thing happens. If you make no decision, this thing happens, right? Like like if you choose to stand null or whatever, the game has to insert itself into the situation. And either there has to be an instruction for another player or there has to be some kind of consequence for those actions.
Well, the game has a philosophy, and it should either coincide with or conflict with your own philosophy.
Ooh, that's very good.
Your own philosophy as a player or your character's philosophy?
There's no character in a role-playing game. There are no characters. There are only players.
But
Anybody who says that's what my character would do is weird and should probably go to a hospital.
That I've noticed that a lot, and you always talk about like turtling. How you got to break it, like someone who's like they're starting to role play and then they like turtle and just sit there and like let all the events pass by. But I found that almost the opposite situation happens. I don't know what to call it, where someone starts to internalize all the role playing to the point that they're kind of being quiet. It looks like they're turtling, but really they're like role playing all this BS about their own character out in their head. And then they have some sort of rationale, like suddenly they jump in, like I stabbed that guy because that's what my character would have done, and they use my character would have done it as an excuse to just be obstructionist, basically.
Yeah, we have less nice names for those guys.
I need a specific name for these guys.
Douchebag.
But that also refers to other things. We need, you need a specific word.
What do we call them?
Is it a troach?
No. The turtle just sits there and does nothing. The roach, like when the spotlight's not on the player, they're running around doing everything. They're talking to the player next to them. They're saying, oh, they look like they want to do something. And then as soon as the spotlight of the game, whatever
They're
it's the
gone.
GM
They
or it's
got
their
nothing.
turn, they get nothing. Yeah, they just sit
because they're
there.
a roach. They scurry into the darkness as soon as the light is on them.
Yes.
But when it's dark, they're moving around, getting all busy.
Yeah.
So this is a word for the player who just internalizes everything. They're playing, but only in their own mind.
And they're doing,
Yeah,
well,
it's
that's
like
what my
the
character
guy
would do.
when
And
you
then they
play,
jump
it's like
out.
the guy who comes and he's got like a whole book of backstory written, and like as you're playing, he's like writing even more just in his head.
The first gaming con I ever went to, Michicon, I was like 11, I think, and I went to this gaming con. I played D&D like for all night with all these old guys, and one guy like runs into a god. And the god's like, "What is your desire?" And all the players are like, tell him like out of character, "You should do this. You should do this. We're trying to win this thing. It's a competition. Let's go." And he goes through this big notebook he brought with him, finds a piece of paper, like flips through it, finds like one paragraph, circles it, hands it to the game master. And the game master reads it and just looks up at him like, "What is wrong with you?"
And he had it all planned out. Like, if my character should ever meet a god, ask for this.
And it asked about all this stuff about his character's backstory and all this fulfillment and all this. It looked like he had a great story in his head, but...
So wait, so let's back up. I actually think it's a little disingenuous to say that there's no character. I will often, I will toot that horn and say, there's only a player, there's no character. Because I also think it's a very dishonest thing for a player to say, well, that's what my character would do. And to not recognize that there are 3 or 4 other people at the table, all with their own needs, priorities, desires. But I mean, you can make decisions within the framework of a character that you've built.
Sure.
Right? You can say, "Hey, I have made I have built this little mask, this structure here, and according to the structure that I've built, this is the most appropriate response." Right? That's what my character would do.
Yeah.
Right?
What would I do in a fight? I'd run. What would my character do? He'd probably fight because he's trained or something.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, of course there's that, but there's no schizophrenic kind of, oh, I'm gonna make decisions based on this fictional character that's gonna not only clash with the other players but also clash with with what I want to do as a player, because that was my character would do. My character would do something that's not fun. It's the classic, my character would go home. My character wouldn't be an adventurer. Yeah, but you're playing a game.
Yeah.
You made a character. He's going to be an adventurer. Deal with it. Yeah, but he's a cook. I always got this in games, in D&D games. So that one guy who's like, I'm going to be a cook.
That was Rim once.
And I'm going to carry a frying pan instead of a sword.
My guy's a pacifist. I don't want to do the boring combat, so I made a pacifist.
That
He
was
wouldn't
specifically
fight.
because I hated the combat. So basically, combat would start. I would go over to the other apartment and play Counter-Strike for like 4 hours.
That's a bad game, because you as a pacifist, you made a decision. You should have consequences for that decision. You shouldn't be able to just disengage with the game, pull out and go, well, this part's not for me.
Right. If the game lets you make a pacifist character, the game should speak to you as a pacifist player, like as a player of a pacifist character. The game should say, "Oh, well then, if you're going to do this, this is what's going on." The game should not exclude you for 4 hours at a time of play.
The same condition, different example. The decker in a cyberpunk game. Same thing as a pacifist player. Well, this isn't about decking, so I'm going to leave.
Aggressive player.
Yeah. This isn't about decking, so I'm going to leave. And meanwhile, the decker's like, well, this isn't about decking, so I'm going to leave. I'm going to go, catch up on my sleep. Those games are broken.
So at what's the line between it being the game master's responsibility to address that versus the game?
Yeah,
What is the
game?
game?
Right. Well, because
The game tells the game master what to do.
Right,
Yeah.
well, I mean, but like, look at D&D, right? The book doesn't really, the player's handbook at least, it doesn't really give the GM that much instruction, right? But if you were a pacifist player in D&D, right, the game master could force a bunch of monsters on you, forcing you to do something, even if you were running away from combat. He'd be like, a crazy fast cheetah is coming after you, or there's a displacer beast, it's faster than you, it caught you. Now what are you going to do, pacifist?
World of Warcraft allows you to play a pacifist character.
How do you level up then?
It's hard, but you do it.
Can you get all the way up?
In a week, I got to level 20.
Wow.
That's not bad.
Without hurting anything? No,
Without
not
hurting
a single
anything.
attack?
The only thing I was allowed to kill, I gave myself the concession I could kill undead. But still, there's not a lot of undead in the zones where
I don't know.
was.
I played the World of Warcraft demo. I've never played it beyond like a day, and I don't know. I think I was a paladin, so pretty much everything was undead. It was like It was like kill 10 skeletons. Okay, kill 15 skeletons. I was like, great. It's all.
Yeah,
skeletons.
I was doing a priest.
Let's back up to the question. Like Jared said, you're right. In D&D, there is this kind of void space where you can make anything, you can have any philosophy, because D&D won't come out and just say, no, you have to be this. This is because there is
Be somebody who can fight and
Be
go
what
on
you were meant to
adventures.
be.
Be an adventurer.
according to the mechanism that is D&D, there are only certain things that you can be that will allow you to function within the game. Right? You have to kill shit and take its stuff, and if you're not going to play a character who's going to kill shit and take its stuff, you're going to be miserable. And you're
It's like playing a Shadowrunner who won't break the law. I'm not going to break the law. Well, you're going to be staying home.
well, I want to play a cops game in Shadowrun. You're the only one.
Of course,
Of course.
I've seen that as the opposite problem too, where we'd often, before we found Burning Wheel and even any other game that wasn't D&D or basically GURPS, just D&D with different numbers, we would try to play these very like politically driven intrigue, like we're all diplomats, and we'd use the D&D rules. And obviously that didn't work, so we basically roll diplomacy all the time.
Well, right, because the game won't come out and just tell you what it's about, right? And say, this is the best way to play this game.
And also a lot of players refuse to admit that the game they've loved for so many years is probably kind of bad, and that they've turned it into a game that they love. The game itself is not a good game, but they're like, no, I love this game. I've been playing it since I was 13. No, you've been playing your own hack of it with all this crazy intrigue and political machination mechanics.
It's like Monopoly and free parking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Or
So-
Candyland
so I
and
guess-
machine guns.
So I guess you wouldn't consider Final Fantasy an RPG, right? Because you don't make any decisions. You just basically, there's combat and it's just a strategy. And if you lose, you just start over. You don't, there's
You're
no
revealing a story.
There's no decisions. You're just
That's a computer game. I don't know if I think computer RPGs are inspired by RPGs, but they're who knows?
That's a tough one. I mean, is there any embodiment and any avatar identification there? Do you feel like you're that person? Do you feel like you're making
there's
an
a
ethical
whole
or moral
non-Final
choice?
Fantasy specifically,
But like Chrono Trigger, which is a very separate example.
Yeah, Chrono
does
Trigger,
that very
Chrono,
well.
you're supposed to be Chrono, and
Right.
the other characters are supposed to be sort of supporting characters.
Right.
And there are multiple endings based on things you do in different parts of the game. Though the rest of it is largely extremely similar to Final Fantasy.
Well, if you look at some popular, successful, well-made games, there is an element of embodiment. I mean, when you're playing Half-Life, you are not a badass. You are a physicist in a suit. If you're playing Thief and you're playing, is his name
forget.
Garrick?
I forget.
God, begins with a G.
Whatever.
But you're not a badass swordsman. You're a dude who hides in the shadows and waits for people to walk by, and then you club him in the back of the head. That's great because it enforces you to play a certain way, which mirrors the character. However, are you feeling loss or longing or any of these emotions that the character's feeling? I mean, maybe in the way that you feel for a character that you're reading about in a book.
Well, the argument I get most from people who say there are role-playing games, and a lot of people in panels will ask this question. They say that you couldn't just make it a movie, even though it's just a single narrative, because the time invested alone makes you identify with the character and feel like you're making these decisions even when you're not.
It's the sunk cost fallacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue with you guys.
Let's call Roger Ebert so we can get him in on this conversation.
I don't think he even know. He's never played a video game, right? So I don't think he even knows a tabletop RPG exists or how it works.
He actually has a copy of one of my games.
Really?
Yep.
How do you know this?
I gave it to him.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean,
we need a story. So when did you meet him?
I,
or
was
was it in person or was it?
Yeah, no, it was in person. I went up
Okay.
to him. I was on a cruise ship, and I was at his film festival at sea with him and Richard Roper. And I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, I did this. I know you're big into pulp and stuff like that. And here's a copy of Octane and Against the Reich. I signed it for him and everything. I was like, I think you're a great reviewer. I really, admire you, blah, blah, blah. And Richard Roper looked at me and said, "Hey, where's mine?" I said, "Hey, you didn't like Sky Captain and World of Tomorrow. You don't get one."
So Ebert did like the Sky Captain?
Yeah. Ebert likes anything that has a bold vision. It doesn't matter if the story's a little weak as long as it shows him something.
Yeah, that's
new.
what I was gonna say. It's like that's basically my opinion of the Sky Captain. Is that the story was a little weak, but it was
he always quotes the quote about the world is starving for new images, which I always like that quote.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah,
So-
Ebert's suffering the same slings and arrows from his readers about our games art and our games better than movies or the same as movies or whatever. I don't think we're gonna.
So it's tough. A role-playing
gonna answer
game,
it.
like a tabletop role-playing game, allows one as simple as D&D allows for such a greater degree of avatar identification for embodiment than.
Well, partly because you make up the character yourself.
Well, you make
like
up the
right off the
character,
bat.
right? You're created, and you get to form this vision in your head. But also part of it, like the sunk cost fallacy, is involved in this a little bit too. The number of decisions that you make, even in D&D, the small, just micro decisions that you're constantly making, huge, exponentially greater than the decisions that you make in a Final Fantasy style RPG. Because Final Fantasy processes all of the game information for you, so it's just presenting you with like these really easy spell or weapon, this way or that way. Whereas I have to be. If we're playing D&D, I have to constantly negotiate with you guys where we're gonna go, we're gonna do. I gotta. Oh well, what do I get from this hall of treasure? What am I going to write down? Am I going to share with you?
A D&D character has memories and history associated with it, and I tend to think of our computer RPG characters as having levels and goals and quests that they've accomplished.
Do you think there is a video game that has memory and history going on?
I mean, why not World of Warcraft? I mean, why is that not an RPG?
I don't know. None of that is attached to the character. It's all kind of the meta of the
It's just
player.
there. It's just there, and you're unlocking bits and pieces of it. There's no.
But the more you talk about that pacifist character all the time.
Well, that's because I'm using it to bring up to make an example.
Well,
I mean, no, I have memories about the character, but it never feels like the character has memories. The character is a cipher. The character's a cipher with some numbers associated.
but that's the case. I mean, for everything you said it before. The character doesn't exist in an RPG.
Correct. But the character.
Well,
The character, I'm getting flustered because Luke's pushing a big button of mine.
Let's go. Let's see. Come
What
on.
do you want to do?
Come on. I'm pushing the big red button. So come on. Which is it?
I think for an RPG, the player's memory of the events and the character's memory of the events are similar but disparate things. The events that happen to the character are not the events that happen to the player. There's emotional resonance and there's emotional context that's not there.
You are twisting yourself around this point. I mean, I agree with you, but
this is why I don't post on forums anymore.
I agree with you, but I think that counteracts or contradicts rather your earlier statement. The character doesn't exist.
Well, I guess I
said that to be provocative,
The character sheet of World of Warcraft only writes down the kind of these tasks you've accomplished that everyone else who played that same class and race basically has also accomplished once they get to that level, and doesn't write down all the personal, like everything else, all the decisions you made that were interesting.
It'd be interesting if it took into account, like, oh my god, that one Knoll took me so many times to go back and to kill him, and eventually he did, and I had to kite him, and I had to get this weapon, and I had
kiting,
to do this.
You're using the lingo. You're really getting deep in.
I'm a professional, dude.
But like, look at D&D, or well, not D&D. Look at a role playing game where you have the paper and your record, like you're writing down, like I got this, and you're kind of the filter of the stuff you remember and you care about gets onto the character sheet. At least in a role playing game that does that. I mean, D&D doesn't do that by default, but some games do.
When you guys play role playing games, do you make little side notes on the character sheet about things people said or characters you met or stuff like that?
No,
I do.
Just because I'm forgetful. Like even if I'm like GMing, I'll try to write everything down and then I'll forget just because I don't.
What about when you're playing? When you're forgetful when you're playing, so you don't write things down?
If I'm
that's
Like,
amazing.
I do the same thing.
Scott basically will say things in role playing games like, I use the proper noun to attack the bad guy.
Or even if I'm playing, like I'll write down something. Like in D&D, I'll write down if there's like we got some crazy item or something, or if there's a puzzle, I'll try to figure it out. But I don't. I just don't have the instinct. It's the same problem. I'll bring a camera with me everywhere, and I'll never take a picture, even though I really, really mean to, just because I don't have the instinct to actually pull it out and actually use it.
Don't look at me with the same pity you're looking at Scott with. I write down the names of every character I run into and like stuff about him and how much I care about him, and I remember it. And I actually use NPCs' first names when I talk to them.
I'm more like Scott, really.
Yeah. I guess I'm in the middle, but I'll make a note on the character sheet itself, we meet somebody like, Vanya. I'll just write down Vanya. Like, I have no context. I also will write down funny things that Scott says or that Rich will say. Like, I'll write down quotes often. But my point here is that the character sheet, just as you were talking about it in World of Warcraft, your physical character sheet definitely becomes an artifact, and it becomes almost like a totem. Like, how many times you see a character sheet that's got Coke stains on it and eraser marks ripped through it.
And I refuse to replace them.
That's Rim. Rim won't even replace a book if the cover's cut off. What I do is if my sheet gets messed up, is I reprint it and redo it. It's got to be all clean.
Even when I refresh the character, because it's unreadable, I keep the old one.
I'll keep the old one as a backup, maybe.
Oh man, I doodled there when I fell asleep during that combat.
Interesting. I'm like that. I'm very much like that. Yeah.
I'll reprint a character sheet and then Photoshop it so it has the Coke stain back on it.
So you can just make a watermark that'll automatically add a different randomized Coke stain.
The problem is some RPGs
that's
you go
a website
and they have their character sheet already has Coke stains built into the character sheet on the PDF on their website.
There's a couple books that the German version of Inspectors is like that.
There's a German version?
Yeah.
How many languages are there for?
Right now there's 2 and Polish is in the works.
Oh wow, awesome. How about Burning Whale? Is that in any other non-English?
No, I tried to get a contract. I don't understand. I tried to get these guys offered to translate to Spanish and Catalan, and so two more languages, and they were only going to print 80 copies. And I said,
"What? So it's just for you and your friends?"
Yeah, I'm like, what the hell? They're like, the market's very small. They're like, we'll print 80 Catalan and 100 Spanish, whatever. And I'm like, 100 Spanish? Really? Are you I don't either. I was like, I don't think that's enough. I think you could probably sell 1,000 in Spanish. And so we couldn't work out the deal. And they wanted to take 3 years, and I wanted them to do it in 2. So I'm pretty much just a bastard who ruins all things that are good.
Would you be opposed to a fan translation?
Fanslation? Yes.
All right.
I mean, whatever. If somebody's going to translate it at home for their group or whatever, that's fine. But
Once
if you
money
post
starts changing hands, that's when it's.
What if it wasn't money? It was just we put it on the internet.
if you post my shit for free on the internet, I will ask you to stop.
All right.
I hate it. I really hate it.
I don't know. I guess we don't want to go into that topic. We could do a whole show on that, right? So you guys, I guess you're mostly here to talk about making games. But are there any games you've played a lot recently, or that you're really having fun with?
This is the shout out section.
No. I mean, I don't want you to just shout out, oh, these are the games our friends make, or I want.
No,
you,
I'm not going to do that because I don't
I
have
mean,
any friends
talk
who do
about,
games. So.
Actual recent game experiences that were awesome.
Pandemic is awesome.
Pandemic.
Really, the everyone versus the game.
Yeah.
So was Pandemic a role-playing game? Because a lot of people treat it as one.
Oh, I was totally playing it like a role playing game. In fact, I was told, Jared, don't role play. Don't role play. I was playing the crazy guy who's like, I'm going to solve the world's problems. I'm going to cure this disease.
But
And
it's
they're
an
like,
emergent property.
it's crazy. It's totally emergent.
It's not there's not a.
You don't need to
the
do it to
game doesn't
win.
talk back to you if you start talking to it, essentially. Right? The game does not and further encourage you to make moral, ethical decisions in the framework of the character. The game.
I think the game pretty much has a pretty straight moral of save the world.
Well, right. Well,
it doesn't tell
get
you.
it
There's
done.
it doesn't say don't save the world or decide.
There's
are you
no
gonna save
prize
the
for
world or
being the
not?
guy who discovers the last cure. There's no prize
Right.
for
There's no prize for making a heartfelt decision. Do I save my wife or do I save the whole world? Right. Like you never make that decision in
Where were you
Pandemic.
brought up? Yeah, Atlanta. Well, guess what? It's just been overrun.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Mom.
But I mean, you like Pandemic.
Is there value in these emergent experiences where the game was not intended as a role-playing game, and yet those same, maybe this is why D&D is still so popular. D&D, the game doesn't really intend kind of the kinds of role-playing we do, and yet it comes out anyway just because that's what people innately want. So they do the same thing to Pandemic.
Yeah, what we call role playing, which is talking in funny voices and making weird decisions based on this is what my character would do, is totally an emergent property from D&D. It's not anything
Right. D&D doesn't tell you to do that.
It's not D&D is not a theatrical experience. I think if it was written like that, Dave and Gary's friends would be like, I'm not going to do that. What do you want us to do? Dress up in robes too?
But that's the other thing. You don't say it, except it emerges naturally.
It just happens.
Right? It's kind of how we embody media. How we come out of a movie theater and we talk about the characters like they're real. Right, the movie that we just saw, we
quote
talk
lines
about
incessantly.
we talk about a character as if the character did something. No, nobody did anything. Leonardo DiCaprio didn't do anything either. He was told to do something. He was instructed, and he followed a very strict formula.
He didn't really do anything. Period. He just talked a lot. He just told you what he was going to do.
Did you see? Did you
Yes,
guys
we
see
just
Exposition?
We saw it yesterday. I noticed some similarities with Lacuna in there.
It's really scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luke you made the list, right? Of
There's a list, like it's static levels,
hostile personalities,
Yeah.
diving, the slab.
Jared already wrote the Inception role-playing game, which is really eerie. For those of you at home who don't know what I'm talking about, 2005, 2006, yeah. So apparently he went into Christopher Nolan's dream state and did an Inception in there.
Or maybe
I actually
Christopher
did an
Nolan
extraction.
maybe Christopher Nolan's played Lacuna. We don't know.
He could have.
It's possible.
I know a bunch of screenwriters who have played my games, so
No, that's cool.
why not?
I mean,
But he's
Roger
been working on
Ebert
that for
has
10
games.
years.
Yeah. I mean, it was,
And it
I don't
shows.
you don't want to turn it into a movie review, but I thought that it was, just incredibly that they would had something so complex and off the wall that usually when other movies and TV shows try to do the same thing, it's like, they go into the realm of incomprehensibility. Like you don't know what's going on.
But it wasn't complex or off the wall.
It was
I think
complex
it
at
was
all.
a little-
pretty straightforward.
I don't know. That's
Yeah,
what I
Scott,
think is that it was.
it's only complex and off the wall if you compare it to like standard fare.
You want to see something complex and off the wall? See Rafifi.
What's Rafifi?
Just go see it.
What, is it
Just
a
go
movie?
see it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a movie.
Jules
Is it- where do I-
Dessin.
Is it on DVD? What country is it from?
on DVD, it's on
What
Netflix.
year is it from?
1957?
No.
60?
No. Much earlier. It's
Really?
like 49 or something.
Oh, Top Copy is the one that came after. That's
yeah.
what I'm thinking.
You're thinking
But
Top Copy. So that's the
see either one of those. Actually, see them back to back, and your mind will be blown.
We'll,
right.
we'll have to trade them some Chiro.
They're heist films. They're really actually pretty grounded heist films.
Inception was just a heist film.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
That's why we're suggesting these.
the heist in Rafifi has no music,
No dialogue, no music.
dialogue. and it goes.
It's 20 minutes long.
20 minutes long.
Oh,
It will
man.
blow your mind. You will be biting your friend's nails.
We gonna get a Rafifi role playing game?
Dude,
If
that-
I have never been able to conceive of how to get you fucking monkeys to behave like that. That's one of the reasons I won't write a noir role playing game, is because in noir you have to behave in a certain way. You cannot goof off. You can't eat Cheetos. You can't crack jokes that are outside of like, the weird noir like underworld code. Fantasy.
there would have to be people behind you with guns in order for a role-playing game, noir role-playing game to work. It's
So the box comes with a couple of zip guns.
It comes with a couple large men with zip guns. It's like, hey, I don't think you want to be making no Monty Python jokes.
It's not a mafia role playing
I
game
know,
either.
but
Just
I
like
can't do it.
I love noir. I
Your mother,
love
she
it
was
with
a
an unholy
Hempstead.
passion, and I've never been able to conceive the tone. And if you look at all the modern role playing games about noir, they all incorporate some gonzo element that just destroys it. Just
Here's noir
ruins
with
it.
fairies. Here's noir with cat people.
Noir with Spider-Man.
So to bring it back,
Hey, wait a minute.
Sorry.
That was directed at me.
role-playing is just like this natural emergent behavior that we do just when we play games. Like emergently, we will
Yeah.
role play.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of a role-playing game as opposed to just role-playing
To
with
reward that.
another game?
If you reward that, you've made a role-playing game. Oh my God, I just answered what is a role-playing game.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's different when I'm playing Memoir 44 and I'm talking in a funny German accent and I'm driving toward my evil Axis goals. It's just very different than when I play a World War II role playing game and I'm playing a German commander who's doing awful things. And just it's just.
Well, here's
the quality of the experience is just very, very different when it's something that I'm just kind of goofing off doing versus when I'm suddenly kind of in the boiling pot having to make these horrible decisions and thinking, well, but I don't like Nazis. I don't want to make this decision. I don't want to be this guy.
So you just said, evil decisions in the memoir game. There are no evil decisions. There's no evil Axis plans in Memoir 44. There's pieces on a board and you're trying to eliminate the other pieces. There's no good, there's no evil. There's just side A and side B. As soon as you start ascribing motivation and philosophical ideologies and intent and good and evil and emotion, that's when it becomes a role-playing game.
Right. I never weigh, I'll play the Axis in Memoir without really thinking about it. I mean, I grimace a little bit.
There's a
inwardly.
historical context you're aware of, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really factor into the game.
Right.
You're not gonna pick the Axis in Axis and Allies and just say, yeah, I'm not attacking. I'm just sitting still.
Yeah.
In fact,
Please defeat me.
I've
defeat me.
betrayed Hitler.
I'm gonna take these tanks off the board. I'm just taking them off.
Yeah.
Rhineland, it's open.
It's open. Take it, please take the concentration camps. Yeah. You just.
In fact, look, his new infantry. It's made of Jews. They rose up. There we go.
It's just different. It's a different quality of experience because the game is opening up this other space now, saying, "Hey, think about this from this perspective. Make decisions from this perspective." But also the quality of the mechanics are very, very different from a role-playing game to a board game. And as Jared talked about it, you're manipulating pieces and resources and betting on randomization, gambling essentially in a board game. When Jared and I made Freemarket, we went through a lot of iterations of the card mechanics in the game. Card-based role-playing game. And at one point, Jared was like, "Yeah, I don't know. Can we tighten this it was a little loosey-goosey at that point." And we did. We spent a weekend and we really ratcheted down the card-based mechanics to where it was this very intense card game.
It had a crazy, it had a weird mechanic where you didn't see, some people could see your cards and then some cards were hidden. And
Right.
Is that what you're right?
Yeah.
It was really it was a crazy cool, it was totally memoir inspired actually, because you had certain resources that you were privy to that your opponents weren't, and certain resources that they knew about that you didn't. It was really weird.
Yeah, you had to show your opponent's cards that you couldn't see and stuff like that. But what happened there is it became a card game. It was a cool card game, but it stopped being a role-playing game. It became the decision-making for the card and tactical element became so intense that we stopped talking in funny voices and making important ethical decisions in the game.
It was the equivalent of that tower defense game where you only build that one tower because it supersedes everything else. It's the same idea. It's why would I role play when none of that matters? All that matters is I get 4 points more than my opponent. and that's what I'm concentrating on. That's what I'm putting all my effort and energy into.
Right.
And the role-playing game just kind of falls apart, and you just don't think about it because it doesn't really matter.
I mean, I'm actually really bad at RTS games like StarCraft, whatever, because I try to make a story out of them as I play. I try to have kind of a complete narrative. I like there to be a beginning, middle, and end to the whole game. And
You should play Dwarf Fortress.
It's too much for me. I'm also I love the idea of Dwarf Fortress. I'm just not capable.
Not many people.
Human are.
Luke's mind hasn't cracked. It's not quite there.
But also in Memoir and Command and Colors I played recently, the basis of Memoir, I have the same instinct, but I've actually gotten good at playing Memoir because I can understand the games a little bit. It's easier. There's basically less complexity than like StarCraft or an RTS, whatever. But so in Memoir, like, I can play for points, even though I want my army to win, even though I want this unit to survive. I want to keep my battle lines neat. I want to run my tanks behind you and be like, "Pachoo, pachoo, pachoo." I want all these things to happen, but I know the way to win is to score points, right? And so I've learned through 10 or 20 years of hard lessons that I should just win the game and stop goofing off. I played Risk a couple years ago. We were in Boston. It was one of my very best friends in the whole world. He loves Risk. He absolutely loves it. And he was winning. And he was having a good time winning. And
everyone else was not having a good time.
Everybody else was out and watching, right? Nobody else having a good time. I was still in the game. I think
Hold up in Australia?
I was holed up in Australia. And I think my friend was holed up even, like, if you can be, but I think he was holed up in South America too.
You can do that.
Yeah.
So, and my friend was just like, cashing in the cards, and he was just like dumping units all over the board. And we're like, what the hell are you doing, man? And
he could win immediately.
He had us walled in.
Right.
We couldn't go anywhere, and he's just playing and like picking at us or whatever and getting cards.
Let's get my armies into the triple digits, right?
And just like, and we're like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? We gotta get mad at him. We're like, what the hell? He's like, we're like, just attack because we can't get out and he's just like, no. He just would not win. And in the game, nothing in the game enforced him like to take the winning move. Like nothing, and like there was no balancing mechanic, nothing going on.
There's no once you have this many troops on the board, you win.
Yeah, no end game mechanic, nothing. It was just pure hate and frustration.
We talk about that a lot. The games that are over when they're not over, right?
Yeah,
it's like we played Chicago Express. We just did a show on that.
I was mathematically eliminated from victory 2 turns in.
Right, there's a train game called Age of Steam, and the way Age of Steam works is every turn it beats the crap out of you and takes all your money. So if you're not doing well enough to win, you're after like 3 turns, it's like you're out, leave, you're done. You're not even in it anymore.
And the game tells you to leave.
Right, you just stop playing, and the game tells you to stop playing. But the Chicago Express
tells you to leave implicitly when someone flips the board over.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Chicago Express, we were mathematically eliminated from victory. The only thing we could have done to maybe, the only thing that matters in the end is how much money you have, right? And the only way to get more money is to get more shares. But if anyone bought a share, that would have ended the game, and we already had a guy who was way ahead, so he would have won. But if we don't buy a share, he would have continued to get more money. So it's like, and a share costs money.
So someone's got to take one for the team and end the game and guarantee loss.
Yeah. So otherwise you just keep playing. And there's a lot of games, role playing and otherwise, where there's a victory condition, and that victory condition is somehow set. Like we already know who's going to win, right? There is no changing that. But that victory condition, actually reaching it, is some way in the future. And at the present time, we already know, our destiny. It is locked in stone. But the game isn't over because the victory condition is poor.
But is that a problem in a role-playing game? Because you can play out the scenario and try to make decisions as to like how the bad ending or good ending is going to roll out.
Well, there are games that start off the bat saying you're going to die.
Mm.
It doesn't matter. Your life's a joke. Now what? I mean, right off the bat, character creation. How are you going to die? What's going to happen to you? And
I like that.
I think what it is
where you
that
write how your character will die on the sheet at creation.
Well,
it's been done.
it's my
Yeah.
game. 2001 Schism.
Yeah. To say it a different way, I guess, it's that there might be a game that has meaningful decisions, and at a certain point before the game is over, there are no more meaningful
Right.
decisions that can be made. You can
In
make
a role-playing game, though, there's always a meaningful decision.
That's not true necessarily. Like Burning Wheel has a problem where like a fight can reach a point where there are very few, like there's really no meaningful decisions. Like
I'm not saying a fight. I'm saying a game. I'm saying an actual game.
but it's part
beginning,
of the game.
middle,
It's like in the process of this mechanic, you reach the point where you just need to end the fight.
True.
And the
True.
and the instructions for Burning Wheel are lacking in this case. We fixed that in the new book, but the game doesn't come out and say, hey, dumbass, just stop and move on. Like right. which because I made an assumption that it's a role playing game. You'll figure this out. That's what you do. You are talking to each other as players, and okay, well we're done with this. We move on. But the actual procedural instructions don't tell you to do that.
I mean, in Freemarket we have a specific action which is end the challenge.
Right.
And I think it's to solve some of that.
But it's really interesting though, because the end the challenge can it's almost broken. the end the challenge mechanic, because it can be a foregone conclusion who's going to win, who's going to lose. I can force the decision onto your shoulders. If you're losing, I can say, here, go ahead. You can take a futile action, or you can end the challenge.
You know what I just realized? You were explaining this might seem like it's out of nowhere, but this is going to make sense. You were explaining the rules of roller derby to me the last time we were at Kineticon eating, right? And you told me that the first jammer that passes through gets to choose when it's over. Right? It's like the same thing. It's like you're in this position. You can choose to end it at any time.
Yeah, the jam will end at 2 minutes regardless, but they can end it early.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a huge tactical decision.
Right. It's double jeopardy there, right? You have 2 minutes or up until this certain condition. And Freemarket, so you can choose not to end it. And if you don't, well, then I get the choice. I can continue on, and choose to end it or push. I don't know. It's an interesting. It's a whole other discussion. That you guys talk about it in your panels. Right. End conditions essentially for a game. Win conditions.
Well, actually, because you brought it up in Burning Wheel, we have this very distinct problem that has occurred in every game we played to date, with Duels of Wits always ending in a tie, to the point that it gets frustrating.
Really?
They always end in a tie.
I think it's
Are
because
you guys just going point?
No, they're going.
What happens
but
a lot is people don't have very powerful dueling skills often. So what'll happen is they'll chisel down and maybe defend a little bit, but
they
then
both get it's like
even
1
if
and
they-
1. Like
Yeah.
it's down to the
It's
very
down to the
last.
wire, and then they'll always go over on the same action. We could, if we looked at negatives, like maybe one person would be -3 and one would be -1.
Well, there's a
but
reason why that doesn't count.
It's
Yeah.
still a tie.
So why isn't somebody just rebutting then at that point and winning and just
Because
holding off?
then they'll both rebut, and then the next round they both point.
How are you guys just like showing each
because
other your
people
actions?
don't
Hive mind.
people don't have a lot of there is a hive mind. We know each other well, and also
You
people
saw that the first time we ever played Burning Wheel. It was the three of us, and you show us how combat worked, or a Duel of Wits. First round, we all fainted.
Feint.
Second round, we all pointed. Third round, we all
Okay,
rebutted.
let's see some rock, paper, scissors right now. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
Okay.
Scott won.
That's right, I won. I don't know why Rim didn't do the fistful of dollars.
Because you expect me to do the fistful of dollars.
How do you do the fistful of dollars?
Rock, paper. Oh no, was it rock 2 papers? Or 2 rocks and then a paper?
Fistful of dollars.
Yeah, fistful of dollars. Right? So you do rock, and then on the second go, you do rock again, and then in the third go, you do paper.
But you only did one go.
Well, yeah, but if we did 3 goes, it would have been 2 rocks and then a paper.
Oh, I see. So it's kind of a
Emergent
You have
pattern.
a predetermined, course.
That was a media virus that was like infected into the group by Luke.
Yeah.
Different Luke.
Different Luke.
Oh,
didn't do it.
Speaking of, I just lost the game.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah, great. That's
Welcome
never
to-
come up on our show.
You play World of Warcraft, you just admitted. You're on 4chan a lot? I mean...
The game isn't a 4chan.
Dude, 4chan the game. That will sell.
Freemarket.
No.
Yeah. In my games.
Come on. Jared's actually working on YouTube the game. Come on.
Shh, don't tell people.
Come on.
It's a
Come on.
secret.
Come on. I'm just trying to spur you like a fucking mule, like
Maybe.
a rented mule.
It'll take me. It'll be like Action Castle. 3 years, I'll have it done,
I upload the video.
and then I'll complain about
The
it.
video is uploading. Please wait. And if you're at my house at Time Warner, please wait even more.
Yeah.
Wait till tomorrow. All right. You making YouTube the game? Are you really making YouTube the game?
Yes.
I don't want to talk about it.
Is it
He's stuck.
Wait.
He's
So
stuck.
is it so like you're?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. Done. Next
Like
question.
did Google? Are
no
you
comment.
working for Google? Do you have a
comment.
contract with Google?
No comments.
Or because I mean, all right. Here, I'll say this. We were at the big double recess, and
Yep.
someone actually brought eBay the game, and it was like this electronic game with cards, and I was surprised it was actually a good game. Like, so if you were to make YouTube the game, which you're not commenting on, you could make it, and it's actually possible for that to be an awesome game.
It is very possible.
It is possible.
Extremely possible.
You can really make a game out of anything.
You can make a game out of anything. We had guys at one of our seminars do a tattoo game.
Oh, dude, that'd be
It's a
pretty
game
sweet.
about being at a tattoo shop.
Oh, I thought it was a game where you have to collect tattoos.
It could be that, but they ultimately chose you had to draw tattoos and put them on people.
Yeah. You were
And then
tattoo
keep
artists.
Keep a portfolio of tattoos or something. I don't know. The game's called like Slut Mark or something.
Tramp stamp.
Tramp stamp.
Slut mark. That's my game. Slut mark.
That's the 4chan remix.
That's Jersey Shore, the game.
Punch Snooki in the head. The RPG. It's got trust mechanics.
So obviously we all
It's a
know
Dogs in the Vineyard hack.
what we like about role-playing games, and we try to get people to play these games, and a lot of people just only know about D&D and just play D&D. How do you trick someone into playing a different game other than going to one of our panels? Or are you like grabbing them at a convention and tricking them into playing with you?
Well, people are. I found at conventions are usually pretty open-minded. They'll definitely do the sit down and yeah, I'll give this a try.
Yeah, even the people who really don't want to play will still say yes. It's
All right,
amazing.
so I think a more direct question that would be more helpful is there's a lot of people out there who they got a group of gamers already, and maybe they hear us and they're excited about whatever game and they
Yeah.
want to switch their people over to
They
something,
should.
right? But they can't convince their group of people who have been playing D&D or playing something else to play something else instead. They can't even convince them to try it.
Well, there's there's kind of two sides to this, and there's a lot of bad behavior that goes on. One, you can't burn the books, you can't throw a tantrum, you can't "Meh." And and the other players, they can't just sit there and be like no. You got to kind of ask politely and say, hey, this week I'd like to try this one thing, and you have to make it as low commitment as possible. This 1 week for 2 hours, we're gonna play this other game, and you guys are gonna actually give it an honest try. Okay, really? Okay, please. I'll bring chocolate. Like bribes.
He did bring
donut-
chocolate.
I did bring
Start
chocolate.
with so
Donuts.
The problem
chocolate.
with one of the problems with role playing games is there's this right off the bat huge the idea in your brain when you hear role playing game is, at least the classic model is, role playing game. We're going to be playing this for 7 years. Everybody, grab a lunch.
Hell yeah.
And when you really need to do is just make some characters, throw them down, and say, okay, we're going to do one thing. We're going to do one cool thing in this game that this game does well, and that's what I'm going to use to show you the game. When Luke does his demos, he's not running a 5-year Burning Wheel epic campaign for these people. He's doing
Sadly, no.
a scenario, which is essentially, it's usually a situation. There's something going on.
There's something wrong.
Here's
Dude,
what
if we had
do?
Inception, right? What did they say? It's like 5 times, right? We go 2 levels down and run 6 campaigns and come back. It would be a minute.
That would be amazing, except it doesn't actually happen in the
I
movie.
know, it sucks.
Right.
So-
That's why you have the sword and you have Thalan's Rift. It's like, okay, here's the situation, go, and you play it and you're done and it's satisfying.
Well, one of the great things about contemporary small press role playing games is they're so low commitment. Like you can grab Inspectors or Lacuna,
And that's one of the whole hallmarks of the genre, because it's pretty much a genre over the past 10 years. Is you'll learn the rules tonight and you'll play it in 2 to 4 hours and it'll be a fun story.
It's just one thing that you kind of have to acknowledge is that people play role playing games for a lot of different reasons. There's a lot of different ways to have fun playing a role playing game, and each role playing game brings a different kind of fun to the table. Or focuses on a different kind of fun. Obviously, people who have different priorities can play the same game and still have fun within certain tolerances, right? Not everyone plays D&D for the same reason, but a lot of groups can get together and agree, we'll play D&D. It's cool, even though it supports more this style of play than this other style of play. So one, you have to agree when you're starting a new game that's try something different, but also you have to recognize that people's emotional fun is wrapped up in this, and so there's going to be some reticence to try something new, some skepticism, and you're kind of fighting against a long history, because how we have fun is we sit down and we play Rifts every week, and that's it. There's no other game, there's no other
People still play Rifts?
Oh hell yeah.
Well, it's like the poker game, right? Nobody says, hey guys, instead of poker this week, I got this other game. What do you say?
Parcheesi.
And everybody, looks at you like you have 3 heads.
Yeah, let's play Jungle Speed instead of poker.
They're like, what?
Jungle Speed is a much better game.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, certainly,
Dude,
less
Jungle
injuries
Speed
from
with-
Jungle Speed than
Jungle
poker.
Speed would be a lot more interesting with betting, let me tell you.
Dude.
Well, especially Scott thought he was clever.
Especially if you put the money near the
Yes.
totem. So you're...
Yes.
Scott thought he broke Jungle Speed because we're playing together. He just holds his hand around the thing. He's like, "What are you gonna do? I'll just grab it no matter what." So he goes to the guy who's demoing the game at PAX, and the guy's like, "All right, show me your trick." And Scott's like, yeah, what are you going to do? And the guy just punches his hand.
Yep. That's classic. That's like Jungle Speed 101. Come on.
Yeah, we didn't have Jungle Speed 101. We needed it to get going.
What you do is you bore out the totem and you start stuffing dollar bills.
You have a wooden
in there.
totem?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I need
old
to.
school.
I'll trade you my plastic totem.
No.
Yeah,
for
that's
wooden.
they're all
Mine is-
plastic
mine-
now.
mine-
I got this.
my
It's not even solid. It's like
Yeah,
it's
squishy.
like a dog toy.
Yeah,
It's,
screw that. My totem is stained with blood
all right,
and sweat.
can I at
Seriously,
least see?
blood.
Can I see your totem so that I can like make my own?
You wanna see his
Make it
totem?
the same
now.
shape.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
That's my screen name.
Your screen name is Can I see your totem?
.com. .org.
Can I see, at Can I see your totem?
Anyway, to get back
better.
on track here.
What were we talking about?
So that's a great
Totems.
example. Is sitting down for poker night and saying, "Hey, let's play Jungle Speed." You're basically offering that much of a culture clash to people. So
you're upsetting their boat that they've been paddling
Rock
in
the
for
boat.
a while.
right, most people who play role playing games. I think want to sit down and play the same character. Most people who play role playing games don't think about playing role playing games like they think about playing a board game. Right, playing a board game. Okay, how am I going to kind of win this? How am I going to get into these mechanics and win the game? You don't think about a role-playing game as a set of mechanics. You think about a role-playing game as a setting and a character. And the stuff that comes behind it is a pain in the ass that gets in the way of you exploring the setting and playing your character, which is completely and utterly fucking wrong, since the rules are the setting. There's nothing else in a role-playing game but the rules, and the rules create the setting. No matter what the Ennies say. There's nothing else in a game but rules. Nothing.
Games are rules. Games are instructions.
You cannot have a game without rules.
Yes.
Sorry.
But what about Flux, Luke? That has no rules.
Flux does have rules. Draw a card, play a card.
But wait.
I always hear that. But what about Flux?
What?
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's their
rules.
example. I mean,
Yeah.
They
No,
should
pe-
say.
most
They should say,
people-
"What about Bajunka?"
Most people don't know how to argue.
This is also true.
You just yell louder than everybody else, right?
Most
or
people-
type in caps.
Can we make arguing the game? That would be good.
Yes.
Burning Wheel.
Burning Wheel.
I mean, it's- well, internet arguing the game. I
Most
guess
of us are-
PHPBB the game.
are also bad at following instructions too. So that's another thing to acknowledge when you sit down with a new game. You kind of want to make it as easy as possible. You are essentially the ambassador for a fun time when you sit down with a new game with your friends. But I actually wrote a whole chapter on this as my new book for Burning Wheel for the Adventure Burner. Is like, hey, you've got to be cool and everything, but honestly, the main responsibility in this is on the group. If someone in the group is sucking it up and playing Rifts or D&D or whatever every week and not having a great time, wants to try something different, you know what? You're all friends. Say, okay, we'll try your game this week. We'll try it and we'll give it our best shot. The thing that drives me crazy is the passive aggressive. Yeah, we'll try this, and the arms folded.
Already decided
we didn't have a good
before you
time.
started.
Yeah, and they
that-
just sit there for a couple hours being like, "This is stupid." What the fuck? How hard is it for you to open up and and say, "You're my friend. I'm gonna make sure this is fun for you."
I don't think they're really friends.
I don't think they're. Yeah,
I think a lot of-
that's.
I think a lot of these people who have these gaming groups and all these, like all the drama, like every time we do a panel,
It's the
anywhere,
person who happens to live close enough to you geographically that also wants to play.
It's always high school kids.
a game.
And then you
who,
feel bad
like,
about kicking people out.
like they know, like those are the other five
But
guys
it's
who
so
even know what D&D
it's
is.
so difficult to even get this many nerds into a single room in the
Interesting.
middle of nowhere.
But I mean,
that to lose that is like we got nothing. It's either this or nothing.
But what
right?
the fuck? What's up with the disconnect between what you two and we two see once a month, where thousands upon thousands of these nerds are getting together, hanging out at these cons, right? We know there's this giant nerd underground.
Because
out there.
well, okay, so first of all, we're in a city where there's a lot of nerds.
Yeah, when we were
right?
in Beacon,
when
there-
you're
if it weren't for the fact that we brought our own crew with us to Beacon, there's no gamers there.
yeah, and the
Just
secondly,
gotta find them.
yeah,
We found them.
And
There
the
were
thing-
like 4 of them. They
Yeah.
were 40. They wanted to play war games.
right. So the other thing is that the conventions are this one-time thing that gather from a greater geographic area. There may
Well,
be
that's
thousands.
why conventions exist. I
Yeah,
mean,
they're
too.
right, exactly. There may be thousands there, but you got to realize that any one of those people goes home to their town. They're probably a teenager with no car, and the number of people that they actually have to game with on a regular basis is like 4 if they're lucky. But at a convention, it's always going to be.
I was going to make a much
lot.
simpler point. Every time there's a panel that I'm involved with in any way that is something like how to be a GM or like tell your stories or like, tell us what's wrong with your game and we'll fix it. it's never about the game. It's always just this personal, crazy bullshit drama. There's nothing to do with
Yes.
gaming that seems to be in everyone else's lives but ours.
Yes. Yeah, I don't understand. It's like, well, I don't know. I guess we have personal drama in our games. I've had my friends storm out of my apartment being like, I'm never fucking playing a game with you again.
Really?
I'm pretty
Wow.
sure Luke will never let me play Burning Wheel
No,
again.
Jared and I are never playing Burning Wheel together again.
I'll run Burning Wheel for Jared.
That's fine. You
No,
guys
I
can
want,
play.
I
I'll
want someone
play
to
it.
run Burning Wheel for me because it's a pain in the ass to run.
Luke put out his welcome mat, and I might have
Shat upon it.
shat upon it. Not intentionally.
You're like, you see the sword.
Not
You're like, I
maliciously.
defecate repeatedly.
No, the sword I played and I really liked it. I played the elf. It was awesome.
Yeah, the
But
elf is a good choice. The human is the only one. It's
elf-
The
it's
rat
not-
is the
The
best
elf
choice.
was my
Thank you.
last choice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, the elf is tricky because I feel like the elf, you feel like you can kick everyone else's asses, and that is not true.
That's not true.
And that's like the best part about the scenario is that the elf always tries to like just, I'll kill the dwarf and it'll be great. And then he's on the ground.
The elf's
bleeding.
like, I'm an elf. You're all fucked.
My major problem, maybe the reason I like all of them except the human because it feels like the human. It's hard for him to make a friend because he just wants to steal it for his personal reasons, right? And so
He could
he could
lie.
try to befriend the elf or the dwarf, right? But. And he can't afford to pay the rat. No one can afford to pay the rat. So he's sort of on his own there, and he's just a jerk. But he's not strong enough to actually do anything, because any one of the other characters can probably kick his ass.
So you don't know if he's a jerk. You just always play him as a jerk.
I think the human's a jerk.
Well, they all want to steal
bit
the
of a
sword.
jerk.
He just doesn't have this like family legacy to like back it up.
Right, he has no
He's
no-
just like, but I just want it.
no,
Everybody
no,
else is like,
he has to repay a gambling debt.
Oh, that's true, that's
he
true.
has no nobility to his claim.
right.
Um,
it's
That's
very
why he's
practical.
the jerk.
It's very
You know, there's
pragmatic.
no-
I need
So you
money.
got to be a noble or you're a jerk.
No,
Well,
it's
that-
not
right.
being a noble. It's that he only wants the sword for selfish reasons. He doesn't even have the illusion
But
of
they
a good
all
reason.
want the sword for selfish
all
reasons.
want the sword for
Yeah.
selfish
No, but they
reasons.
have the illusion of a valid reason
Yes,
that they
yes,
can
they
actually
have an
say out
illusion.
loud. The human has nothing he can say out loud.
You can make shit up.
That is truthful.
I
Well,
need it for my
That-
wife.
Right, but
Pay for an
now he's a
operation.
lying jerk, right?
But, you know,
There's nothing truthful
thief.
that he can say that would be a valid external claim for the sword that anyone else would,
You just
you know.
turn to the dwarf and say, we can take these assholes. Let's go. That's what you do.
Yeah, but then the dwarf is on you after you take out the elf.
the
So
Well, you,
I'll grant Scott this: the human is the hardest character to win with. So
you told me the rat was the hardest one to win.
no,
with.
I changed my mind. I actually,
He's
after,
updated it.
After further analysis of the sword, the human is the hardest to win with. The human wins the least, and often because, well, I think one because of the reasons that Scott is pointing out that he it's hard for a player to sit down and jump in and make him sympathetic, or and he's not powerful enough like the dwarf to just come out and be like, fuck you all, I'm gonna just do it. The rat, it turns out, I completely underestimated. He is an utter badass, and I've seen the rat just take on all the other characters and beat them down.
The rat at PAX. Oh my god. Was it PAX East or PAX?
PAX.
PAX. Oh my god.
Yeah. Just
Dude.
crazy.
Crazy.
But the best Robard, the best gambler I saw was at PAX Prime 2, where the kid had used his falsehood
Oh
abilities.
shit, yeah.
Had everyone coming and going.
He did the forgery, right?
He
Had the forged coins.
yeah, he made an
Oh my
unskilled
God.
counterfeiting.
he paid the rat with fake money.
But yeah, he clipped the coins. It was awesome.
And then, he paid the rat with fake money, and then used his falsehood abilities to convince the rat that it was the dwarf that did it because of the dwarf's greed. And it's perfect because the rat has a low will. He was a perfect mark for the scam. And then the rat, who is a badass,
He's a badass with a knife.
went house on the dwarf.
The dwarf ended up running off into the caverns, and we never saw him again because we had to end the game. But it was like, okay, the dwarf kind of got away.
He's
He's lost in the caverns alone and
that's
hungry and
the
without
best
good shoes.
sword story I have is when I did the circles as the rat, and I got more rats. But that
Oh.
was, I guess that's a little bit better with the forgery. That's clever.
Yeah, he used
It was a
unskilled
combo
counterfeiting.
attack.
That was a kick-ass game. That was like everybody was just bringing it.
That was really fun. But yeah, I have seen. I think the human wins the least out of everyone in the sword. So if you're listening to this and you're a Burning Wheel player and you have won with the human, if you have played the sword and Robard has come out on top, I want to hear about it.
Give yourself a round of applause.
Burningwheel.com.
You should be rewarded for winning with the.
If you're an experienced Burning Wheel player and you've played the sword and you've won with the dwarf, play again and play with the human. Play with Robard, because the dwarf's the easiest to win with, because the dwarf can just tank
That's
up.
like nightmare level.
Thing is, I've seen the dwarf get freaking stabbed, pretty bad by the elf. You know, he's not all. You know, he's the strongest, but he's not always gonna.
No,
win in
I
that
mean everything. Every character in Burning Wheel is vulnerable, and which I love about the game. Like, you know, they can all be brought down, but just in
Burning Wheel, everyone has a groin. That's what Luke's trying to say.
what does that mean?
Even the
You can
women.
kick it. Yeah.
Oh,
women
I have
groins.
a specific Burning Wheel question. Do the dwarven females? Because there is a.
This is your question.
Here it
Yeah,
comes.
it says in the character burner, dwarven trait, bearded. So do the female dwarves have
You
beards?
cannot play a female dwarf in Burning Wheel.
You can't.
Nope.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there's no life path.
You cannot play a female dwarf in Burning Wheel.
Uh-oh. Did we
Dwar-
do
and-
it wrong?
This is you
We
guys
always
did.
just assumed that men and women were all bearded. In
Well, I mean, you can
Wolfland.
be a bearded woman, and
This
I don't know.
This
transvestite
came up
word.
at the
Yeah, we were joking about it.
Kineticon thing.
But no, the serious
Oh,
answer.
right. It did.
The
That's
serious
right.
answer is dwarves have a conservative society to the point of fascism, and you can only the only dwarves who matter are male dwarves, essentially in dwarven society. Dwarves are assholes. They're giant, greedy assholes.
They're not that giant.
Well, I mean,
They're wide, they're not tall.
their meta asshole property is giant.
I'm sure a dwarven asshole is quite giant.
We just lost Poughkeepsie. Why did I say Poughkeepsie? I was thinking somewhere in the Midwest. That's like
Poughkeepsie's right upstate.
yeah.
That's
we
where
used to live up
we
there.
lived up there. That's where we played games.
I've been to the Polish men's club up there.
I'm sure you have. Did they have giant assholes there?
The Polish men's club. They like to play role playing games.
Why
up
did I
there?
say
No,
that?
no, it was some rock and roll.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I remember when you went to that show.
All
It was Jesu, right?
So
Yeah.
I suppose we can wrap this up, but I guess now's the time. What games should people out there be playing? Because people always come to us now, you know, because we talk about Burning Wheel a lot, and we play Burning Wheel, we do the panels, and they come back and they're like, I played Burning Wheel, and I played Inspectors. What should I play now?
Well, if you saw Inception and you want a legitimate Inception experience, one of my favorite role-playing games ever happens to be by the guy who's sitting next to me. I know I'm a big suck-up, but Lacuna. It's a few years old, but it's doing well. It's
selling
aged very well.
Well, all these Inceptions threads have been like driving sales. It's
So,
like
yeah.
that
Oh,
and
really?
Action
Like, it's
Castles.
actually
That and the Parsley games are my best sellers by
Yeah.
far.
Yeah,
I mean,
even
like
more than
when I
Inspectors.
first saw Lacuna, I bought it because you recommended it at the UberCon.
We even
and,
did the thing, like, I didn't read the book, and we
yeah.
tried to, like, follow it exactly.
I was the only one who read the book. Alex, I think, also read it, but like when I saw the book, I didn't think it was a game that could be played. Sort of like one of those games that's just they make
Well,
a
like
game.
Hall, like
yeah, like
Human
Hall,
Occupied
right?
Life.
It's a
Right.
game. Someone makes a game book, but you're not actually supposed to play this game. I mean, Kill Puppies for Satan is almost one of those. You know, it's like you're not actually supposed to play this.
Yeah.
It's just a humorous book that happens to be in the form
You
of
can
a
play Kill
role-playing-
Puppies, but yeah.
I know you can't, but so I thought Lacuna was unplayable, but actually we played it and it was like completely the opposite. It was extremely playable. I was quite surprised.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's.
so-
I mean, one of the jokes in Lacuna is that right. It's an unfinished game. Well, all role playing games are unfinished, right? All role playing games, or the vast majority of them, require you to make up some rules and sit down and kind of fill in the last.
There's
few
huge,
inches.
There's 3 things I can think of off the top of my head in Lacuna, which are not explained in the game, which are necessary to play the game. If you don't answer those questions, it's impossible to play the game.
But the part of the game
is
answering those
answer
questions. That's the important aspect. It's not that you can't answer them or whatever. You will answer them, and you have to answer them in order to play the game.
Somewhere I have in the archives, I recorded the entire game that you guys played of Lacuna and Wildwood.
Oh yeah, that's got to be
Yeah,
wicked
it's
ancient.
somewhere in the archives, but
That's
I
an
got it.
ancient ass recording.
So more modern. Like my current pick from last year was Kagematsu by Daniel Lewan.
All right, let me write that down.
It's
I
up
haven't
for a
heard- I
Diana
haven't heard
Jones
of that.
award.
So tell me all about it.
So Kagematsu.
Is it Kagamatu?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kagematsu by Daniel Lewan. And full disclosure, I designed the cover for it after she asked me to. Her other cover artist punked out.
The cover's also nominated for a Diana Jones
No,
award.
it is not. No, nominated for a Diana Jones Award. But it is nominated for Diana Jones Award. And it's a game about medieval Japan. And
Oh, is that it?
That's it.
Yep.
That wow, that's a fantastic cover. Holy crap! How did you do that?
It looks. The book itself is really, really beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh, damn.
you play women of a village that is in peril in Kagematsu, and a samurai, a wandering samurai, maybe Ronin or whatever, wanders into the village, and you each have your own reason to try to lure him over to your side, to ally with him or romance him or whatever. And the game is just really elegant, like very simple mechanics, and it's high concept, right? It's a samurai romance, and it's got gender bending rules. If you have a woman in the group, she plays Kagematsu, and the boys all play the women.
So it assumes that you only have one girl in your gaming group.
well,
That is a correct assumption.
I mean, it's probably a fair assumption, but it says
Well,
like
Jungle Adventure has similar assumptions.
That is also true.
if it just says basically if there's an imbalance, make sure that the girl plays the boy samurai, which is cool. It's it's a bit of a thought experiment there. But it also it makes you conscious of the gender roles, and it makes it a little less skeevy when the boys are trying to romance the girl. In that case, I mean, I can see playing it the other way, but I like the fact that that's a conceit in the game. The actual mechanics are very simple. It has an end game mechanic. It has priorities, player priorities, which are important to me as a player and a game designer. And it's just short. It's just short and sweet. And I mean, I kind of think it's the state of the art for like games at this point in our like history as a community of small press games producers. Like this should be the bare minimum of quality that we should be producing. They should be, well designed, simple, with nice mechanics that play to the concept. I don't think we should be designing D&D over and over again and fucking that's like the human O to me. That's like you've curled into a ball and are jerking off into your own mouth. Like, what the fuck?
It's a human centipede.
I have not seen that yet.
I'm never going to see that.
Really?
I can't do it. I don't like movies like that.
Have you seen Ichi the Killer?
I don't like movies like that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Have I seen Ichi the Killer with you?
I have Ichi the Killer. We haven't watched it yet.
Do you have the fully uncensored one though?
I got on Netflix instant download. I haven't watched it yet.
Probably not the real.
You'll know because basically.
Oh, I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard.
there's
Something about a swimming pool, right?
No, I'm talking. Well, there's a pool of hot oil.
Yeah.
On a guy's back.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff.
And that's not even the worst movie. Ebola Syndrome. That's the worst.
Ebola
No,
syndrome.
It's the worst I've seen.
Ichi the Killer is the worst, like direct, well done violence. Ebola syndrome is the worst concept that actually made it to execution.
How about Cannibal Ferox?
Never heard of it, but I'm
Is it
gonna
Ferox or
check it out
Ferox?
now.
Cannibal Ferox. Ferox.
I'd be surprised if
That one's a classic.
If it could not beat Ebola syndrome. Ebola syndrome is.
I'll tell you about Ebola Syndrome after we're done here.
Yeah, we don't want to. That might change the demographic of this show a little bit.
I don't know. We've been talking about some interesting things.
I did see Valhalla Rising
at the
other
IFC?
day. I saw it at the IFC.
Was it good?
Yeah. It's like Apocalypse Viking.
Nice.
Like there's even this the scene in the hotel in Hanoi.
Apocalypse Scald.
Where the where the Viking is drugged out and walking around punching the mirror, and there's a helicopter.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are they playing Ride of the Valkyries or Flight of the Valkyries?
They're actually playing. There's a
That's
really
ironic.
like the whatever the big musical number in it, like with the montage of that is actually like it's awesome. It's like the intro to like an In Flames album or something.
The guy who did that? He did
Bronson.
Yes, and the guy Bronson
is
with Inception. He was
He's
Eames
in
right.
Inception.
Totally didn't realize
So if you like the Eames character in Bronson, studio audience, the Eames character in Inception,
See Bronson.
See Bronson. He is the lead in Bronson, which is an interesting.
See
little-
Bronson
That's
and
probably Emily and her.
So aside from the what was the other double feature I recommended?
Oh.
I can't remember now.
Rafifi Top Copy.
Rafifi Top Copy, and after that, more crime. You do Chopper and Bronson.
Chopper Bronson.
Man, we're asking for RPG recommendations, and we get a few. We're getting mostly movie
Hey,
recommendations.
it's all the same. It's all the same cloth.
I'm trying to think what else I've
It's all
played.
the same well. I played Mouse Guard.
Played Mouse Guard. You like Mouse Guard?
I like Mouse Guard a lot.
Yeah,
think Mouse Guard's pretty good.
we tried to play Mouse Guard like once, right? It was all right.
I wanted to play.
It's the
you know what
best
game
adventure role-playing game ever written.
Do you know what I want to play?
What do
Which
you
I
want to-
haven't. And I'm going to. I'm going to try to play at Gen Con, or at least buy it, because it's actually the first role-playing game I've wanted to buy in a long time.
Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Let me tell you about Dungeons and Dragons. It's fascinating. It's called. You guys know about it, Fiasco.
Oh,
We
we
just
played
played it
that
last night.
yesterday.
Was it awesome?
It was okay.
Well-
the beginning was awesome. And
Okay, I'm not buying it then.
Well, okay.
It petered out
We only
for
played
us.
it once, you know.
Did you have a
and-
girl in your group?
Yeah, we had
It was
mostly girls.
actually all girls except us.
It was
Okay,
3
fuck
girls
that.
and us
That's just
2.
not natural.
Okay, so basically, we kind of want to do a show on. We can make this the show on Fiasco.
No,
it
we
would
we don't
take
have
a
that
while.
much. We don't have enough time.
No,
But basically,
time. I
I'd
go
say
So here's
yeah.
the problem. It didn't give the basically our people got too into the role playing, so the game went on way too long and never ran
okay.
out of steam because
So it's the reverse of.
It basically, the game told us that the whole game should have taken 2.5 hours, right? And by it was already like an hour and a half, and we weren't even half done with the first act, and there were 2 acts, right? So we were at 25% done when we should have been 3/4
next
done.
time, play with like an egg timer or something on the table.
Well, the thing is that the mechanic of the game is that you go around turns making scenes,
Right.
And the scene, and then everybody should. You either establish the scene or resolve the scene.
But
Right.
if you're establishing, because that's like most people would establish. So you establish a scene, and then as you role play it out, and the weird part is a lot of the scenes will end up being you just kind of monologuing or explaining.
wow. So it is one of those. It is like the movies that it's.
Yep.
It's
Or
based
you
on.
can bring like other characters in and interact, but then the other players kind of wink and nod at each other. Eventually, they pick up a black die or a white die to tell you the scene's going to go badly for you or it's going to go well
Oh,
for
so
you.
it's a sit around a table and make shit up game.
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to get any more. Morningstar, you suck.
It is very light. It has very good mechanics for building the world and building the relationships with the characters.
Well,
It's very mechanics light for everything else.
the play sets are really cool. I really like the play sets that people
I
have made.
also like the play sets a whole lot. The problem was that when it was time to do a scene, we might role play way too much, and I was like, whoa, okay. I mean, this is awesome role playing going on, but we have to
there's
pick
shit to do.
We have to pick a black or a white die, and this
Which
is
didn't
only
even-
supposed to take 2.5 hours.
Well, that didn't even work because the way people were role playing, 4 characters are involved in this scene, and the result is good and bad ambivalently for all
it's like-
characters.
it's supposed
all
to be-
We found the Apache skeleton in the cellar, but the Apaches are now upstairs.
Yeah, if it's my turn and it's my scene, the black or white die is supposed to say whether it's good or bad for me in terms of the conflict of the scene. But if the scene has a weak conflict, or maybe black or white actually might be a bad or good consequence for the other person, it's not even their turn. So it's not, I was like, is that even right? Can we do that? Like a white die on my turn when I'm resolving
Just kills that other
kills
guy?
Rim on his when it's not his turn and the spotlight's not on him. And I was like, is that right? The book didn't really give a lot of help there. So
I'm gonna
that
assume
was-
that you just played it wrong.
it's it's very possible that we have played it wrong.
I'd say try it again.
Oh, we're going to.
We're gonna
not-
try
we
it
don't-
again for
We
sure.
don't give up on things.
I
that
mean,
easy.
don't count this as a review of a game that we played once and didn't even finish playing. So you
Because
know.
who would do that?
right, we gotta play
Certainly
it.
never happened to us.
We got to play it more times and finish it to have an accurate assessment. But that was just
Well,
that was what happened the first time we played.
That's one of the
Yesterday.
games I'm interested in. I haven't played it yet, but I'm very curious.
Yeah, just reading the book, it's interesting, and the play sets are
and it looks
way
great.
awesome.
It looks great.
It
I
is-
guess
it
my
looks
advice
really
is
great.
just every individual scene, just make it end quickly. Like get to some sort of conclusion.
Well,
and then move
I think
on.
that's good advice for any game, for any role playing game.
Yeah, but
Get it done.
I think the problem is that was unnatural for our group.
our group people
Right.
like to really like get in character and start because because we have some actors in the group, so people start
Oh.
actually.
Well,
like
there's your
acting.
problem.
Oh yeah, actors are the worst role players ever.
Alrighty. Okay, so why don't we wrap this up and we'll discuss, I guess, just pimp whatever you want to pimp, for people to spend
Yeah,
their
what are
money
you
on.
selling right now? What will make you money?
Well, the Adventure Burner.
Oh snap!
for-
What's in that?
for Burning Wheel? It's book 5 out of 5 books for.
When are we gonna get like
wait, all right, so
dwarves,
you're-
options and skills?
Wait, so that's a
No, not
definitive.
happening.
I mean, when the Magic Burner came out, did you say that it was 4 of 4, or did you say like?
No, it's Magic Burner's 4 or 5.
Okay, so there's no. That's it. We're done.
core books. Like
Okay.
Burning Wheel core
the
books. Like
spokes.
Oh
have
right,
been
so
forged.
Blossoms Are Falling doesn't count.
Blossoms and Jihad don't count.
Jihad don't- okay.
Serpent Sun doesn't count.
Paths of Spite.
But Dark Elves doesn't count. Right. So we'll do more stuff like that. But as far as like core book mechanic stuff, that's done. So Adventure Burner contains adventures, advice on setting up situation or adventures in Burning Wheel, and then commentary, about 150 pages of commentary. On like basically
So is that the majority of the book?
majority of the book
So
is
it's like-
you
commentary.
want to
it's
work
like
with us
a-
and make an audio commentary version of that or reading?
Sure.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, Burning Wheel itself doesn't really work as an audiobook so much, but if
The Adventure Burner would.
the Adventure
definitely.
Burner probably would work as an audiobook, and you don't have to like go through Audible or whatever. You could just be like, here, buy the MP3 on my site.
That's
whatever.
cool. Sure. So yeah, $25. It's got a green cover. It has the sweetest wheel
Best
we've ever
color.
done.
It's sweet.
It's a wheel of skulls and weapons.
Oh snap! Skulls.
If anybody,
Skulls and weapons. That's like Red Skull territory.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I helped Luke with the final editing pass, and we did a big party, and so I got to read the whole thing several times. And I gotta say, anybody who's interested in role playing games should really check it out. Anybody who bought Robin Law's Guide to Good Robin's Law's game mastering book, I can't remember the full title, but anybody who's into that kind of stuff should read Adventure Burner, because it's a lot of good advice about any game.
Which is hilarious because I specifically wrote against that. I made sure that the instructions in the Adventure Burner
It's very
are
specific.
only for Burning Wheel. It is not. The instructions in the Adventure Burner do not apply to any other game. They don't apply to Mouse Guard. They don't apply to Burning Empires. They don't apply.
Having read it
to
as a player,
anything else.
as a player with problems,
I
found it very useful. I found it very
I have a lot of
therapeutic.
problems, so that would help me
If
out.
you have problems, if you have a player
So what
with
else is coming
problems,
out of Gen Con, Jared? What else?
we have the
when is Gen Con?
When
2
is
weeks.
Gen Con? You should
Oh,
know
snap.
this.
I don't. We don't do that.
Remember, because we dropped Otakon, so we have a spot free in the schedule now. Now we're kind of backing away from a lot of the anime cons, moving more toward the
What
gaming
other?
stuff.
So you're going to Gen Con?
Gen Con is in 2 weeks.
Gen Con.
August 5th,
Gen Con.
All right.
5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And what other conventions are you doing?
Well, hold on. Wait, we're not
Jesus
done.
Christ. Wow. Right over. Just I'm done.
Barrel right over the plug.
Just done.
We're good at this.
I don't know. I had conventions
Clearly.
on the brain. It's convention
Clearly, no
season.
Facebook, no Gen Con. Why are we here?
Yeah. Are you guys actually recording this, or is this just an elaborate puppet show? These are just soup cans that you just modded, aren't they?
All right. Do whatever.
microphones.
Just go.
No, I was just gonna say at Gen Con we got I got my Parsley games, so Action Castle and its sequels. Well, not sequels, but additional games. There's 4 of them now. Holy crap, 4. Last year I had 1, now I have 4, and I'm actually selling them in the Parsley Bunch, which is Action Castle, Jungle Adventure, Spooky Manor, and Space Station.
Spooky Manor is the one I'm
Is
most
there
excited
a
about, 'cause I
discount for
haven't
buying the
seen it
bundle?
yet.
No, but because I need to make my rent. But I'm going to be selling them in like little envelopes. So
Oh, you get it.
you'll
So
have
it's a
little-
bonus envelope.
It's a bunch, and I'm working on the graphic design of the envelope. We'll see how it comes out. It could suck.
You should include some parsley, like dried parsley.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
And
It's an awesome idea. I'll also have Lacuna and inspectors
Have some heroin.
and heroin. And what is this other game that we've been working on for 3 years? So finally, Project Donut is done. Freemarket will launch at Gen Con.
This is
I
exciting.
can't wait.
Oh snap.
Scott got to play it.
So,
I
yeah,
haven't-
so if you I did play it once. That was actually pretty great when we played it at recess. I was very impressed. With the free market, if someone pre-ordered it, when would they expect to get it then? If it launches at Gen Con, you're gonna mail it like when you get back from Gen Con?
yeah,
or?
it'll probably be shipping after Gen Con. Sorry,
All right.
kids.
But they
It's
will
just-
get a groovy patch. We got the patches in, and they're groovy.
Yeah.
Oh, is like
Mission-
iron on?
It's like a
patch.
mission, a little
No, so you got to sew it on.
sewing on mission patch.
Oh snap! I have to put that in my bag. I don't have any. I don't do patches really, but maybe I have
you
to
should,
start.
You should do patches.
I wish they had laptops made of cloth. I could sew it onto. The...
I don't have it out. My laptop has that black burning wheel.
All right, so for people who've never heard of free market or maybe don't know like what the deal is, like can
He
we?
already said it's 4chan the game.
We did
is
say
not-
that,
it
but
is
that's not. I don't think that's enough to make
No.
anyone buy it.
No,
It is a-
no.
transhumanist science fiction role playing game in which you cooperate, donate, and
friend. Make friends.
and make friends.
It's not nearly as hippy dippy as it sounds.
It's actually rather cutthroat.
It's very ruthless and violent and
Yeah, but I got a
Terrifying.
frowny face when I was violent.
well. That's
and it hurts when you get a little frowny. Right?
I didn't even see it coming, and he gave me a frowny face, and I was just like,
So yeah, it's we really tried to make a science fiction role playing game that's not just about pirate romance and shooting guns.
"Oh, pirate romance."
I love my pirate romance too, but it's in this case the game is much more about as Jared has said on many occasions, time, space, and identity rather than pew 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 pew
Exactly.
pew pew.
Exactly. We took a lot of the themes. We did a lot of research. both science fiction books like Schismatrix and Snow Crash and Neuromancer and Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom, and which was a huge inspiration. And then also stuff like Malcolm Gladwell's books,
Tipping Point,
Blink, and books on astronomy and books on pirate utopias by that guy. I can never remember his name.
Pirate Utopias is a big influence.
That book's insane. We did research on Facebook. We did research on Burning Man. We did research on
This is true. I forgot about that.
Physics and medicine, and it's a
Hope
crazy
space.
game. We did some research on space too. Yeah, we did. Lagrange points and all sorts of stuff. The travel time from Earth to Saturn.
So $60 for a box set. You get chips and cards.
Oh, it's a
and-
box. Whoa.
It's a box set. I should have. Have you not seen the box
I've
set?
seen it. I'm trying to hype it up to people
Oh,
who
okay.
don't
He
know
was
it's a
acting
box.
like he hadn't already seen
I
it.
see.
So it's not
good.
just unlike Burning Wheel, which is a pile of books. There's goodies in there.
Yeah.
This is kind of a trick.
It's like-
you can bring out the box, be like, "Hey guys, want to
So
play a game?"
all those
Totally.
D&D people who are used to buying Planescape boxes, like this is for them.
It's basically somebody called it Future Planescape, which I
oh,
thought was kind of
shit.
funny because
That's-
it's the sigil is shaped like a donut too, which I didn't even
oh my
realize.
god, I
until-
didn't even.
And it's similar thing. It's you build you have a little social group. You have with your philosophy and your ideology, and then you go and you do stuff against other groups.
It is really funny. But yeah, $60 for the
kinda
box set. It's a very pretty box set. And it's also hilarious that for some reason people will pay $60 for a single
A single hardback book.
hardback book like Rogue Trader, but they look at our box set for $60 and they go, "Ugh, that's too much."
Somebody said on a forum, "Oh yeah, I'd pay $20 for that."
Well,
I'm like, yeah,
how
well,
much
so
is
do
how much
I.
is Burning
So do I.
Empires? Burning Empire's gigantic hardcover that's like fully crazy color and awesome paper on it.
$40 or $45. depending on where
Right.
you
So
get it.
then
People don't understand what stuff is.
This comes with cards and chips, right? That's
Comes with 5 decks of cards.
5 decks. I mean,
6 decks really because of the tech deck.
I've bought board games, well, not board games, card games that are a single deck for like $10. I mean, what's a starter deck of Magic cards?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like I
It
think
was
it's like
like
$12.
Right.
12,
so this
12
is
to 15.
5 decks and a book.
and
It's an infomercial.
chips.
Right? You get and
Buy
free
now,
chips.
and you get a free. I was gonna
free
say something really,
free sew-on patch.
You got a patch.
We'll include the patch for free.
I was gonna say like a dicking or something. I was just gonna go.
You'll get those
completely-
too.
And there's a ShamWow in every third box.
Yeah, we're also going to try to get the cover illustrator out for the pre-order fulfillment. So she's going to be sitting there sketching in the
Oh.
Snap.
in the books as we're numbering them.
So at
Usually
Gen
you
Con.
just get something like, burn on, Luke.
We're going to try. Well, not everyone is going to get sketched, but we're going to try to get her out there to sketch as many of them as possible.
All right.
So anyway, that's enough pimpage, I think.
Yeah. And if anybody's coming to Gen Con, stop by the booth. And we're also doing this Thursday, we're doing a seminar.
We're doing many seminars.
So Thursday, we're doing Inside the Donut, which is basically a how the hell did we make this thing?
Yeah, if
Oh,
you're
very
From its
interesting.
first conception about, what was it, gangsters on its space station?
Korean
Korean gangsters on a space station, all the way to what it is now. And the pitfalls and the hurdles and the design process we followed, the one that we espoused that we actually followed for this game, where we actually sat down and went, wait a minute, are we doing what we say we do? And
Yeah, I noticed that we do that a lot too. Is we'll we were doing the how to run a panel, and we're basically we like do as we say, don't do as we do, because we didn't do anything we said to do. Right. It's like because once you're the expert, you don't need to follow these rules. But trust me, if you follow these rules that I don't follow,
for this game, we actually went back to our core kind of guidelines and went, okay, is this really what we're doing?
Yeah, we actually
because we were nervous. We had a lot of people looking at us going, what are you doing? And we at one point did not really know.
we actually used our process that we push on people.
This is good though. This is like proof that it is a good process.
Well, we'll
Or
see.
that-
You'll be the judge of that. Actually,
Vote with your dollars.
all right.
vote with your forum posts.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I'm not gonna have you say websites are out loud. You can just we can put them in the websites.
URLs.
You can see our Gen Con schedule on burningwheel.com.
And
Oh, that's
on
good.
my website, memento-mori.com.
All right. There will be linkage in whatever.
So
I
thanks,
guess
gentlemen.
I guess we have to put this up before Gen Con.
I'm gonna put it up on Tuesday, and I'm gonna cut that part out so people don't know that we recorded ahead of time.
That's fine.
This is coming live.
I wasn't meant to be
live.
on the. I was just like, oh shit! I was like, wait a minute, we were just recording this for a rainy day. Or
No, for Tuesday, and then
Okay.
and then on Tuesday we're gonna record a show, and that show is gonna be the rainy day. We're gonna talk about our failure at playing Fiasco.
I don't know.
It was a Fiasco.
Yeah, definitely.
So you could be a writer for us. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.